Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahushai, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahushai, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahushai, Kol Loim La Adonai Yahweh, Bashim Shamalak Yahushai, Bashim Kakadash, the honors of the apostles and elders, great millstone, peace, citation, hope, full Shalom. And I may title this video, Eve is really hating on the passport bros. And as you can see right here, it says this article was posted on December 30, 2022 by Zara Aziz. And it says new hashtag passport bros, hashtag causes outrage amongst American women of color. So yeah. And this term passport bros is, a term for, like, let's just say, from what I've been seeing in the YouTube videos, right, and even on TikTok as well, that, and Facebook, and even Instagram, so they show you on a lot of social media platforms. Basically, there's a whole thing that where these African American men, just men of color in general, they're just leaving this country to go find actual feminine women in other countries, like women who are truly like feminine, that have traditional roles of cooking and cleaning and knowing how to cater to their men, that are pretty much open arms and desperate to pretty much find a man. Whereas women in this country, they undervalue men and they treat men like shit, and they have high requirements for men, right? And I call them Yasharahla 444, and basically you will see that, like, these women pretty much in America, they ain't shit. And it's not really only just women of color, like, particularly talking about the so-called black women. Like, they're the most least desirable out of all women, don't get me wrong, but it's pretty much all the 12 tribes, and even, just all women in America in general, women who have been Babylonianized, I say, who have been Americanized, for so long, because let's say they could have parents from that are both immigrants from a different country, came over here to get their citizenship, and then they had children over here, then their children become Americanized, seeing the influence of Hollywood, the mass media influence that they see on the mainstream media, their social media. They basically see, like, this whole toxic feminist way of living their lives. Basically, the feminism that is portrayed in America is neo-feminism, and that feminism is on a whole nother level compared to other countries in the EU, in Latin America, I'll say the Latin American countries, and and mainly in the Asian countries, and so forth, because basically America is like that upper echelon of, let's just say, of wicked women that live here, thinking that they're superior to men, or at least equal to men, and that feminist mindset that they have is pretty much a destructive to not only the family, but to the men they're dealing with, and even to themselves, So going into the article, says a trending hashtag on the internet has a growing group of users frustrated and flabbergasted about the role race plays in dating for American women of color. Hashtag passport bros began as a way for black men to advise other black men where they could find traditional women in other countries. A simple search of passport bros on any social media platform will show hundreds of describing hundreds of men describing their experiences with opposite sex in other countries compared to those in the United States. According to the report in Travel Noir, in quote, black people have suffered through so many forms of prejudice in the United States that we've sought other countries to feel like human beings. The hashtag passport bros movement could be seen as an annex to the same inner peace and happiness concept. A group of black men who don't feel needed and admired by black women looking for love overseas. They travel to different destinations worldwide and find happiness with a partner of the opposite sex. So, I'll show one of these videos. Let me see.
He about to hit you with the who hurt you? Who hurt you? This is so hilarious because black women especially do not respond to things that's irrelevant. So it's really funny to see how she reacts to these videos about the passport bros, but she don't even care.
Intimidated by the black woman.
We're intimidated.
We have raised our standards so high because we finally know our worth.
We're intimidated by black women in America.
Now, I made my last video as a warning,
especially black men,
because of my personal first-hand experiences.
Oh my God!
About what American men are doing. But if you
mad
are
or
going
not
to a different country for love, to get back as black American women,
to get back,
you want to make a statement.
It's always about them.
Make it to you, but we don't give a fuck.
Yeah, okay. And why you making a video then?
We don't care.
Why you making a video?
Exactly. Shows you that these bitches ain't really shit. You know, they could always talk shit about everything that, you know, a man needs to do in his life to pretty much, you know, fulfill his needs and desires. And they have it to where they don't support anything that that their man does. And that's the issue with a lot of them, is that they're just so caught up on the ways of America. Basically, the mindset that Esau has given these women, he's pretty much polluted their minds with this whole feminism, you know, after the women's liberation shit, which allowed women to basically go and chase their careers and become career women. And what they could do as well, they could kick the man out the house, and pretty much, with that being said, decide to take custody of the kids and destroy the family unit. And these women have done a great job in doing that, you know, mainly with the help of Esau, with his government system. And men seeing that, how these women don't appreciate them because they feel like they got the government to step in, that they got all this help, to where they feel as though that they're equal to men or superior to men. You know, they feel like they really don't need men in their lives. And you know, it says right here, but some black women in America are not happy with the trending hashtag on TikTok. Several women have rebuffed claims that traveling outside is the best way to find women. Passport bros are weak black men that don't know how to court strong black woman, one user said. And others said the hashtag was more of a way to fornicate with foreign women rather than settle down with them. In quote, passport bros' true intentions are to have sex with foreign women and they're not searching for love. And another woman believes that the hashtag passport bros trend is a subconscious way that black men emulate their white masters who have been notoriously known for colonizing and going to third world countries to find submissive wives. Meanwhile, some women in foreign countries support the controversial hashtag, stating that some women in the Western world don't know how to treat their men. And yeah, there was a Filipino woman that was, you know, saying that, you know, and there's some, Philippine woman even going as far as saying, that like they would know how to treat men that are coming from the Western country, which is America, coming to their country, you know, seeking for love, and they will pretty much, you know, comfort them and give them what they're looking for, you know. and they sound openly submissive. And it's a shame to see that how men can't find the love that they're looking for with women in their own country that they were, born and raised in, to the point where they gotta go to a country all the way in the east to find love.
People just can't understand that Asian or many Filipinas are attracted to black men. Why can't you just accept that the black man that you don't like is wanted in the Philippines? And the fact that these guys don't want to be with you, that means they are not being treated like a king. And why settle for someone who don't want to treat you like a king when you can go to the Philippines and be treated like one? And that is why people, not just my black king, everyone I'm talking about, men who are unwanted in your country have to go to the Philippines. And then they say, oh, we don't care. You can have our leftovers. We don't care. But the truth is, we Filipinas love leftover. Leftovers are the best. You know why? They can at least compare us that, whoa, you guys are way better than my ex. Or my ex-wife, per se. So guys, especially to the future kings of the Philippines, what are you waiting for? Look for your queens now. Because I can guarantee you, once you find your Filipina queen, you will automatically become a king.
And I don't know if she's being a fool trying to make mockery, that black woman on the left trying to make mockery of the Filipino woman that's on the right. But, when it's coming to these women in general, that we have in America, mainly, the women of our nation, which are, the Israelite woman, otherwise known as Eve, when you see their mindset on how they look at men, of their nation, they feel like the so-called white woman, in a sense. And it's even to the point where I'll say it's so fucked up that they act worse than the white woman. They have surpassed the white woman in the level of wickedness to where even the white woman to a certain extent is submissive, But at the same time, when it's coming to Eve is just, totally gone. Like, she's like a white woman 2.0, and she's like that towards her own men. But when it's coming to the white man, Eve is very submissive, subordinate, and she actually has respect for Esau. And you see, when it's coming to these these fucking black women, the so-called white man, Esau could fucking have them, because we don't really want them, because they ain't shit. That's why 2/3 of them are gonna have to die. And it says in quotation, some say American women lack femininity, and when these men get to these countries, they treat them like men should be treated. One user believes they proudly speak on their traditional values and beliefs, even if they aren't from countries such as United States and the United Kingdom. And there are, however, a burgeoning group of black men who have spoken out against Pastor Bro, stating that the men who support the hashtag have no game, or whatever. They said passport bros are a group of liars looking to sexually exploit different countries because they were never accepted in social circles where they're from, one user said. But yeah, don't get me wrong, you're going to find a lot of people coming from different avenues on how they feel about this whole, passport, bro movement, or whatever the case is. But at the end of the day, they're, what you call it, there's different people with different opinions at the end of the day. But at the same time, it's like, you can't really blame, men who pretty much want to go out in a different country and they want to find, a peaceful woman, who hasn't been, let's say, indoctrinated and corrupted with the mindset of the Babylonian woman, pretty much like their mindset, like I said, is, the mindset of a black hole. That's how their desires are as well. That you have to basically, even if you have the least of what they require, like the least of their requirements, like 6-pack, 6 feet tall, 6 figures income, and things of that nature, and a nice car, even if you have that, they still have a chance of cheating on you. They still have a chance of, let's say, not only cheating on you, but even if you have kids with them and you supporting them and giving them what they want, it's never enough for them. They still want more attention. They still want to cheat on you. They still want to divorce you after, the years of commitment that you put into the relationship. And then they still want to file for divorce and try to take custody of the kids. You see? And then all that. And guess what? You lose out on that shit, And men not only have been like financially robbed, but they feel like, the system has been rigged all along, and it has been rigged. And the so-called white man, you could thank him for rigging the system to where majority of the times when you marry women in America, they're more likely to cheat on you, to basically have you going head over heels, buying them XYZ, spending so much money in a restaurant on first dates. They expecting so much. And then it's like, guess what? It was never enough. Damn near blow your whole paycheck on a bitch. And then yo, it's like it's never enough for them. They still want more. I'll bring out some precepts and Lord willing make this lesson edifying for you for that. And Jeremiah 31 verse 22 says, how long wilt thou go about, O thou backsliding daughter? For the Lord hath created a new thing in the earth. A woman shall compass a man. Exactly. And that pretty much has started mainly on the soils of America, that woman compassing a man shit, and Esau helped them during the 80s with the woman liberation, right? And that was like the third wave of feminism, by the way, because the first wave was when they were able to, like when they were able to vote and shit like that, if I'm not mistaken, that probably was like the first wave of it. But there's, levels of the feminism before, it got to the point where women were able to work and, jobs and, chase after careers like men do, making it easier for them to like go to college and, doing things like men, so to say, and it says, when it says like, for the Lord have created a new thing in earth, a woman shall compass a man. Compass is like, when you go into the word, it's like going around. So basically they could go around a man's authority, they could go around a man's, rules, things of that nature. I mean, you go into the etymology of compass, and basically it's to the point where, they're not going to listen to you if you, I wouldn't even say, even if you have money and you're a so-called black man, they still looking at you like you're inferior. Because when you see Ciara and Russell Wilson, she treating him like he ain't shit, and this man is a multi-millionaire, net worth of about over 200 million. And she looking at him like he ain't shit or whatever, and he's over here simping for her. But I tell you, if it was a white man, these women will pretty much be submissive. And what you call it, when it's coming to our woman, like, they pretty much are so out of order to where it's like, you don't even want to deal with them. That's why there's other, let's say, MGTOW related groups out there that are specifically made for black men. At one point, they used to call themselves enlightened black men in the early 2000s or so, before the MGTOW thing started. But I remember there was something going on like that. Then before the IBMOR started, that that's what they also call themselves, like EBM. IBMOR is like introspective black men of reform, so it's like a MGTOW, mostly specifically for black men, because obviously the black men has to deal with so much let's say oppression, to the point where it's like not only that they have to go their own way, but they have to also basically have it for specifically black men, because when you're dealing with black women, they're completely different than dealing with white women and things of that nature, because MGTOW is pretty much for all races and stuff. And then you have the SYSBM, which is Save Yourselves Black Men, and these are the same thing like IBMOR, but they probably discuss a little different things or so, you know and what you call it. And these black men, let's just say, they're saving themselves, you know, from dealing with these westernized women, mainly the women of their nation, you know, and they're going out overseas to find women that they could actually, deal with, women that could actually listen to them, women that could actually cook and clean for them with no back talk. See, women in this country, they feel like cooking and cleaning are not gender-based roles. They feel like those roles are survival roles. That's what they feel like. And they feel like those roles are like a man, they both got to do it, because since the woman is able to work now, she could say and be justified in saying that, oh, a man could do it too. So she could work in a career job and then basically come home and expect her husband to do the cooking and cleaning, you know, to kind of being like, oh, it's all about being equal, you know. And I really find it disgusting and find it a shame to where, like, you even have some women that feel as though as a man, like, they find it very attractive when they see a man could cook, you know, showing you that they don't really have to do it, you know. And it's like to the point where these women have been so let's just say indoctrinated the wrong way that they really have backslided, you know. And they're not ashamed for how they've been taught in their life. Bring up more precepts. And then Ecclesiastes chapter 25 verse 13 says, give me any plague but the plague of the heart, and any wickedness but the wickedness of a woman. Exactly. And verse 15 will say, there's no head above the head of a serpent, and there's no wrath above the wrath of an enemy. And let's say we feel safe to say that the women of our nation are our worst enemies, because we always say 2/3 are our worst enemies, but the woman of our nation is our worst enemy. And Apostle Tahar will say it too, as well as other apostles, like, and the brothers going on down. The black woman is their worst fucking enemy. And I'm gonna say it again. The black woman, the nigger woman, in other words, a nigger bitch, is the worst fucking enemy. And I'm gonna say it out there, and I don't give a fuck how they, receive it. But as for sincere sisters that's watching the video, they should feel the anger that's coming from, the brothers that's pushing this word on how these wicked women are, and that should anger you sincere sisters watching this video as well, and watching other brothers, getting on wicked women. And yeah, and dealing with the wrath of your let's say of the woman that you was dealing with in the world, that you divorced, or she divorced you, and then it just so happened to where she put you on child support. That's the worst wrath you could ever deal with. You gotta support and pay this bitch while she's getting fucked by another man. Like, what? And the money that she's getting is towards her custody. It's not going towards the custody of the kids. and then it's basically supporting her lifestyle and being a harlot and doing whatever she pleases that satisfies her wicked desires and lusts. And it says, I had rather dwell with a lion and a dragon than to keep house with a wicked woman, right? And that's talking about mainly women in America that are mostly wicked, you know? And pretty much it says the wickedness of a woman changing her face and darkening of her countenance like sackcloth, you know? That's why they have to wear fucking makeup, you know? Because they really look horrible without their makeup a lot of times, you know? And pretty much like a man, just all he desires from a woman is pretty much like peace. Let's say this right here. In verse 20 it says, as the climbing up a sandy way is to the feet of the aged, so is a wife full of words to a quiet man. And that's all you're gonna find from women in America is fucking combative, brawling, let's just say fat woman, or even skinny, but they look like 2, 3s, and 4s as well, right? And these are the same bitches that think they're 8, 9s, and 10s, right? They come with a baggage of, let's say, of relationship issues that they dealt with previous, partners, like their, let's say, boyfriends, ex-boyfriends, even ex-girlfriends. If, some of them, they will experiment in the fields like that too, to the point where if they can't deal with a no good piece of shit niggas that they claim they ain't shit, what they do is they go and deal with a female, like a dyke or so. And then what they do is, like, when they ultimately hit the wall, that's when they want to try the nice guys, when they look like a Jabba the Hutt, or when they hit the wall and look completely ugly and they start gaining weight. And that's when they want to try a good man. And you see men from the red pill community, like, let's say these MGTOW related groups, like, MGTOW itself, SYSBM, and pretty much Ibmore, when they see those things, men be calling it out, and not only that they call it out, but like they pretty much show you examples as well, to show you proof that this is how these women get down, mainly in America, So this passport bro thing, you could pretty much be safe to say that it's like MGTOW mostly for women. It's like MGTOW from basically Americanized women, basically men getting away from them, from the Americanized woman and going to other countries to find better women. But MGTOW is really an international thing, because you even have some of these heathens, like, you could see videos and articles about Japanese men and even Chinese men, how they're not dealing with the woman in their country. You'll hear about that. And even Esau himself, he's struggling with his own woman. So if, like I say, if black men go into different countries and they having, a good time with woman over there, it really shows you that these women really know deep down who's really supposed to be in rulership. And it's really setting and paving the way for Isaiah 4:1 for, the men of the Lord that's in his truth, And honestly, the Most High will pretty much find us women in those times, as brothers keep pushing this word and keep staying diligent in his truth. Because, you finding a woman out there and all that, like, they still may have its flaws, but, like, let's say you don't know if that woman could set you up. You don't know if she's, like, what you call it. Yeah, like, if she probably maybe get you caught up with a pimp or so. And sometimes, like, you may not know the landscape and the atmosphere of that country, like how it, things go down in there. So it's like she might lead you to the wrong side of town and get you fucked over. Shit like that could potentially happen too. And plus you don't got nobody out there that so it's a pretty much a risk, going out to other countries. So there's a lot of things you got to be aware about. And it's pretty much like a fucking shame, but you can't blame these men. I know a lot of Akim too, like that understand this truth, and even those that just pretty much watching these videos, mainly for the sake of getting on the woman or whatever the case is. I know a lot of them can't blame these men for wanting to go to a different country to find a better woman, because most of the times when they come in this country and when they go to America, you're going to find a lot of these women are almost like the same way. These bitches that are ugly as hell and even fat as hell, having requirements like the 8, 9s, and 10s. And it's to the point where a lot of these middle school girls, like even girls in middle school and high school, like even as young as in middle school, over here trying to act like they, bougie, that they think that they the shit. They feel as though you have to have money, like a scammer. So like they feel like you have to, to be on their level, you have to have what you call it, the stupid requirements that they always say, the financial requirements that you gotta have like 6 figures, and they starting to really even emulate the same energy that they see on these TV shows like Love and Hip Hop Atlanta, Real Housewives of Atlanta, Real Housewives of LA, Basketball Wives. So they really just like matching that same energy basically, and they're treating every guy around them like he gotta be on a level where, he gotta take me out this place, gotta take me to a telly, which is a hotel in layman's terms. He gotta pretty much do take her out to what you call like a vacation, like they call it vacation or whatever. That's how they say in the street. It's like they really are something else. And these women, they think like this in high school too. It's like sometimes it starts in middle school, and it's a shame, And as a man, as a young man growing up, dealing with that, we have to see girls in middle school and high school becoming that corrupt. It fucks you up. And then their body counts are average higher than a man, and sometimes a man they even have experience in having sex at a at the age that they be losing their body virginity. It's a shame. And it says Ecclesiastes 26, blessed is the man that hath a virtuous wife, for the number of his days shall be doubled. And that's exactly what those men are out there looking for, is a virtuous wife. Verse 2, a virtuous woman rejoiceth her husband, and he shall fulfill the years of his life in peace. That's all they're looking for, to be honest. A good wife is a good portion, which shall be given in the portion of them that fear the Lord. All right. And, that's mainly like the Isaiah 4:1 woman coming for the men of the Lord, for those that truly fear the Lord. And it says, verse 7, evil wife is a yoke shaken to and fro. He that hath hold of her is as though he held a scorpion. Exactly. And pretty much when you see these women, that's what they are. They're just nothing but traps to hold men back, when guys deal with them. all this money to support her and take care of her, and it's like she's still gonna be unfaithful towards you and cheat on you. And these women, they claim they can't see themselves, being that submissive and subordinate like these other foreign women, and they talking shit about the passport bros, and they talking shit about the woman that they going for. It's funny to the point where that Filipino woman in that country has called the woman over here hyenas, mainly talking about the black woman. I'm like, yes, she's exactly right. Because when you look at a hyena, that's what a hyena does. A hyena thinks that they're above, men. They don't know their fucking place. That's what a female hyena does. They're not in order. They think they could do what men do. That's why they look filthy. And it says, verse 13, the grace of a wife delighteth her husband, and her discretion will fatten his bones. A silent and loving woman is a gift of the Lord, and there is nothing so much worth as a mind well instructed. A shamefaced and faithful woman is a double grace, and her continent mind cannot be valued. Exactly. As the sun when it ariseth in the high heaven, which is the sky, so is the beauty of a good wife in the ordering of her house. Exactly. And let's see right here. It says in verse 22, and harlot shall be accounted as spittle. That's mainly these bitches in America, harlots. They ain't shit, They're only worth like spit, basically. But a married woman is a tower against death to her husband. And then verse 24, a dishonest woman contemneth shame, but an honest woman will reverence her husband. A shameless woman shall be counted as a dog, but she that is shamefaced will fear the Lord. And it says, a woman that honoreth her husband shall be judged wise of all, but she that dishonoreth him in her pride shall be counted ungodly of all. And it's to the point where, with that Filipino woman, she mentioned that how the woman over here are hyenas, like, it's because they're shameless, That's why they count it as a dog. And a hyena is a wild dog. So they're worse than the dogs that you keep as a house pet, Because you're not going to keep a hyena as a house pet now. They're wild dogs. And they completely look out of order, considering that, a hyena puts like the male hyenas put the female above them. And that's why, shit don't really go well in their, let's just say, in their family pack. But other than that, when it's coming to this woman over here in America, they're completely corrupted. And, you have that urge in your spirit to feel like, that these women deserve to be, put to death and to be spat on for the way they act and shit like that, And ultimately, like, even if they get disrespected by a lot of enlightened men that have pretty much like broken away from, that have like awoken to the matrix of this whole dating in America, that have awoken to the matrix of marriage and shit, and realize that it's a rigged game, realizing that the woman is so corrupt to where she's a Esau's weapon, the woman of our own nation we're talking about, mainly the black woman, because they're the leaders of the nation of women, of, they're the leaders of the nation of our people with the woman, like the black woman. She leads the nation of our woman, basically, starting with Judah, then Benjamin, Levi, leading the rest of the 12 tribes. That's the reason why a lot of times, like, they have a curse of why they can't grow their hair out, because of their wicked ways. And you read Isaiah the 3rd chapter. And it's gonna have to take not really getting insulted by, you know, all type of people round about, even in foreign countries. It's gonna have to take Micah 7 and 10 for these women to be humbled. You know, it's gonna have to take the Lord to really put Jacob's trouble, a post-apocalyptic time period, you know, a time period where these women are gonna be suffering without a man, you know. And then Second Ezra chapter 16 verse 33 says, and this is the thing that will happen pretty much in the you know, sometime later on in the future, you know, and we're soon approaching those times. And it says, the virgin shall mourn, having no bridegrooms. The woman shall mourn, having no husbands. Their daughters shall mourn, having no helpers. In the wars shall their bridegrooms be destroyed, and their husbands shall perish of famine. Right. You know, and this is what's going to make women want to basically have men more than ever, you know, in America. So they could keep it up, you know, keep feeling this way, keep that same energy, because when the Most High send them plagues, man, and when he send Jacob's trouble, you know, these women gonna get right overnight. You best believe that. And Isaiah 32 verse 9 saying, rise up, you women at ease, hear my voice, ye careless daughters, give ear unto my speech, that how many days and years shall ye be troubled, ye careless woman, for the avenger shall fail, and the gathering shall not come, you know. And then going on down to verse 12, talking about how the Most High gonna make them stripped, and he's gonna bear them and gird sackcloth upon their loins. He's gonna fulfill shame in them, and he's gonna make them finally feel ashamed, and they're gonna really be begging for support in that day, for help. And then Isaiah 32 verse 2 saying how a man shall be a hiding place from the wind, you know, from the destruction, and a covert from the tempest, as rivers of water in a dry place, as shadows of a great rock in a weary land, you know. So we're gonna be like a shade for these women. We're gonna be their Maslow hierarchy needs, because we're gonna have, you know, Lord willing, if we're part of the elect, we're gonna have that spiritual power to feed, you know, these women, to give these women, you know, thirst. You know, these women gonna be thirsty, in both ways, and a double entendre, like sexually thirsty, and they're gonna be physically thirsty, you know, because they need water too. So, and then pretty much they're gonna need that protection. So they're gonna have all those things if the man of the Lord takes them. And for Isaiah 13 verse 12 saying, I will make a man more precious than fine gold, even a man than the golden wedge of Ophir. You know, pretty much the Most High are gonna really make it to where men are gonna be so high valued, like men of the Lord particularly, they're gonna be high valued by a woman, to the point where they're gonna want to leave whatever man they're dealing with in the time of Jacob's trouble just to run to a man of the Lord. And it's gonna come to that time. So they're gonna be chasing you, and even to the point where you're gonna have to use spiritual power to pretty much like run from them, to hide from them, to pretty much you know, camouflage, turn invisible, you know, run away from them at super speeds, fly away from them. You're gonna have to do so much to pretty much, you know, get away from a whole bunch of women coming your way. There's gonna be all types of women coming for you, you know, all type of disabilities, all type of ailments, all type of what you call it, pretty much all type of races out there, you know. Gonna have heathen women, even Israelite women that look like the heathens, and that actually look like so-called Black, Hispanic, Native American, actually have some of their original looks. They're gonna be coming from all avenues, all angles, everywhere, trying to chase you for answers and for mainly for protection, you know, and food and shelter as well. You know, so they're gonna definitely desire for every bit of Maslow hierarchy of needs that you could provide them. So, you know, but as for like, you know, any man that want to still go out to other countries, shit like that, just, you know, obviously you could be careful about it and shit, but, you know, I don't blame any man for doing that, you know. At the end of the day, you a man, you do you, but, as for the men of the Lord, like, we're going to still stay true to this word, serving the Lord with the most sincerity and, diligence that we could possibly give, And with that, I hope I made this edifying. Let's give all glory, praise, honor to Adonai, Yahweh, Bashem, Shamalak, Yahweh, Bashem, Kakadash, the honors of the apostles, the elders, great millstone, peace, citation, hope for elect, Yahweh, Shabbat, Bakasha, Shalak, Rayam, Arawam, Wakawayam, Wa Ababa, Shalom.